Welcome back to Mohawk Motors, everybody. My name is Jason, and you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm coming back from being sick. It's like 2 weeks after the last video, and we had a cold go through the house, and it took me down for a couple days. But I'm back on my feet. Stuff is happening. I think we're just gonna make this like an update video on the state of things in motion, and then next week's video will be actually getting back to work on some projects. So let's start with the Silver 2500 HD, the manual transmission truck. And that truck, it's here. It's back from inspection, and I am happy to report this thing went through enhanced inspection. No problem, not a single issue, no lights missed, no nothing. Everything was, the inspector was very impressed. He was happy with the truck. He says it looks great, and gave it his sign off. So that brought us to the paperwork on this truck. And that is the part that he was not familiar with. I am not familiar with. And they have a person in-house that does tag and title work as well. And she was not super familiar with it because, as you'll recall, on this truck, we did a cab swap. We took a cab from a 1500 Silverado and put that onto a 2500 HD Silverado. And had they both been 1500s and the weight rating of the truck really not mattered, it would have been very simple. But the issue here, and the part where it's not real clear in Pennsylvania's explanation of doing a cab swap or any of the forms you fill out when you do a cab swap, what's not real clear is if I put that 1500 cab onto a 2500 HD chassis like I have, I want that truck to still have all the legal paperwork and documentation for it to be a 2500 HD. I don't want it to be downgraded in weight rating to a 1500. And that's the part where things got kind of tricky. So the three of us all kind of put our heads together, read through the documentation, the paperwork, and I think we got it all figured out that Pennsylvania will issue some sort of VIN plate alteration plate that will say, like, even though this VIN is for a 1500, the truck is actually X VIN, it's this weight rating, it's able of towing this much trailer, etc., etc. So it should be all clean, good to go, weight's correct, and title and stuff hopefully will be back in about 3 or 4 weeks. So the paperwork is all turned in, the enhanced inspection, like I said, went perfectly. Now we're just waiting for the state to go through and say, hey, your paperwork looks good, truck's legal, here's all your documentation stating what it can tow, what it can haul, etc., etc. Or for them to get back to me and say, hey, this isn't right, you got to do this or whatever it is. So we'll find out soon. And in the meantime of waiting for that to get processed, I'm back to the 6.2 for the CUCV. And as you can tell, I've got the engine up here hanging on the stand. I've just finished the paint, and it should be, yeah, it's all dry now. So this week in the evenings, I will start getting this engine final cleaned on the deck surfaces and start getting it all put back together. I got to reassemble the heads with the new valve springs, lap the valves, get all that bolted back together, and then we'll get this engine put back together. So you'll see that video coming. Hopefully my plan is to have that up next Friday for you. What else? So getting the 6.2 back together, the good news is that engine will be put back together, which I'm excited about. The bad news is that project needs to go on hold for a while. I've already spent the money on the parts for the engine. I've got, you know, all new accessories, trunnion upgrades, spark plugs, everything I need to finish putting that engine back together, gaskets, etc. But I still need to put together a 4L80, which is going to cost a little bit of money. And then I need to do all the cleanup, body work, metal work, paint on that truck, which is also going to cost a bit of money. And with the way things are going in the government right now, our family's income may be affected. And until we know if we are or are not going to be affected, I'm going to try not to spend a bunch of money on stuff. So that project is going to be, the engine's going to get put back together, and then that's going to be on hold for a little while. And I know a bunch of you were excited to see the CUCV get refreshed and brought up to date and given a new life. Unfortunately, we're just not in a place where I want to invest the money into that right now. And I don't want to do it halfway. I want to do it all the way. So that's got to hold off until we have a little bit more clarity in what's going to happen with the federal government. But in the meantime, I have plenty of stuff here for a very low cost, very minimal investment project. And here's what I think we're gonna do. We're gonna do this square body. If you remember, I picked this K5 Blazer up at Carlisle this year. And I thought I got a good deal on it. The body is very solid in it. It's still got the front and rear axles in it, but there's no drivetrain. And fortunately, I have lots of drivetrains, and my plan was to LS swap this thing, and I think that's what we're gonna do next. I've got the donor trucks out back, so I'll pull a drivetrain. It's gonna get a 6-liter with a 4L80 transmission. I've got the transfer case and drive shafts to put this thing back together and make it a driver. The only thing I don't have for it is interior, but I think all I'm really missing is the driver and passenger seat. So hopefully maybe we can pick those up cheap on a Facebook Marketplace, or maybe even from the junkyard or something. But this thing is gonna be, this is the next thing to put back together. I'm pretty sure I have a set of motor mount adapters in here somewhere from a previous project or something. I can't remember exactly where they're from or what they're from, but I know I've got them in my box up here on the shelf, and I've got plenty of stuff around here to be able to put an exhaust together for it. Like I said, I've got the donor truck with the engine and transmission, accessories, everything else. I'm sure I have a radiator around here somewhere that'll work. And yeah, I should be able to get that thing LS swapped and driving with very little money spent. So that's gonna be what we get started on next. And like I said, you'll see that. Next video you see is gonna be getting the 6.2 finished up. Then next video after that is gonna be getting started on the K5 Blazer. So trying to keep the needle moving. And along the way in there somewhere, I gotta make myself do the rockers and cab corners on the little silver single cab truck that we 6-liter swapped way back in the spring of 2024. That thing is finally at the point that I can't keep putting it off. I gotta do that too. So that'll be mixed in there somewhere along the way. But I think that's it for now. Feeling much better. Finally got this cold licked. Finally got the kids and my wife all healthy again. So we gotta get back to work down here. It's been enough time. I'm confident the paperwork is gonna go through on the silver truck, and that'll be honestly just in time to be able to bring that up to Spring Carlisle. So if you're gonna be at Spring Carlisle, I plan on having that truck up there in the show field, and you can come check it out in person. So I think that's it for this one, guys. Just an update video, no actual work getting done, but there are things getting done around here. And I appreciate all of you checking in and following along, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.